Red lights. Two red lights. We just thought it was not good.
Just don't try this at home.
Just don't try this at home yet. Hey, what's up, everybody? So I'm just gonna give you a little tour of my studio that we're here. So right here where we're standing, this wonderful space. This was my bedroom. And if you go right over here behind this wonderful curtain, is the restroom. Not too much space, but it's a good little place. Right here, entertainment center, living room, games, movies, movie nights, spend the night. It's all right here would happen. If you walk down over here this way, if you walk over here, this is our closet where all of our wardrobes took place. Shoes. This little corner, our dining area. Right here, family table. We would talk countless times here over many different drinks we've had. You come to this place, our kitchen. This fridge, I should not be taller than it, but I am. This is a fridge here. And this is where the magic happens. All the cooking, all the wonderful meals. And so this is it. And this is our garage. Right over here in this corner. Storage area. This is a beautiful storage area. Where I have my bike and shoes and miscellaneous items. Happen right now. So this is day 2 of moving the Solid Salem home, and it is exactly 3:06. Bro, this is just a trip and a half. Go ahead, King. Tell him, King.
Trip and a half.
Oh my gosh.
2 lights. I'm not gonna say the rest. 2 lights.
Red lights.
2 red lights.
We just thought it was not good.
Just don't try this at home.
Just don't try this at home yet. We are here. Check it out. The work is not done yet, but we are here. How do you feel? I feel really good. You know, guys, it's such a blessing to be busy. Like Andrew was saying, you know, we're here. We're not done, but it's a blessing to be here anyway. It's an adventure, you guys. Check this out. This is amazing. I'm doing it at 360 for everybody. Look at this. There's a little patio here. Oh, it's an amazing patio. This is where all the action is gonna happen. What kind of action do you think is gonna happen in this little place right here? Well, you know, in this little area, little gated community, we're gonna have our daughter playing out here on her bike. Possibly have, you know, a barbecue pit here in the corner. Ooh. You know, maybe a nice little stand-up hammock where people could rest and, you know, sunbathe. You know, endless possibilities. But the most important thing is gonna be gatherings. Family gatherings, birthdays, Christmas, Easters, you know, just all kinds of different things. It's possible, guys. It's possible. If you're able to do the right things at the right time, anything is possible. Definitely. first place we just had a room. You know, you come into the hallway, and this is our nice little pantry. Check it out. Walk-in pantry there. All our baking supplies. You know. Beautiful long hallway. Here is Jelly Bean's nursery. There we are. It's coming along, just as we said. It's not done yet, but it's coming along. This is not only, 3 bedrooms so far. This is a guest bedroom. Second full bathroom. And this is study, where a lot of prayers will be going, a lot of study going in here. Possibly maybe even an extra person, we don't know. But for now, it's going to be a study.
I was just warming up for now.
Warming up? I already started it.
Oh my goodness.
Warmed it up. So we have Sam, say hello.
Hello.
And we have Nicole, say hello.
Hi.
This has been a crazy journey because Sam, as you may or may not know, is my brother. And Nicole is my sister-in-law. And you guys have been married for how long? 2 years, coming up on 3 in July. That is amazing. That is amazing because, they started this and, I'm some years older than my brother, but he bought a house before me, which I'm so proud of. And one of the main reasons why I'm doing this video. But I wanted to ask him because it's a incredible journey to do this. And, what really started you guys on this journey? Go with me? All right. For me, the biggest thing for me was having stability for my children that are going to come and for the one that's coming in May on the 21st, supposed to be here. So for me, it's stability.
Yes, for me too. The only thing is that for me, I wanted the timing to be right for God to direct us when it was time. We figured that, yes, we want stability, but if it's not time now to get a house, then we would make it work with what we have. But God lined up resources and relationships to help us get to where we're at.
Yeah, but you guys are so young in your marriage. Like, a lot of people don't even think about doing this. Like, and as far as your marriage, like, I know many other people have different goals, they have different aspirations, but what kicked off, and the idea, the light bulb, so to speak, to get you guys to this, because both of you have to come into the same idea, the same mind frame, to actually say, we're gonna do this. So I think for, I'll speak for myself. My idea, is really God allowing us to have our first child. I believe that's what really kicked it off. It's always been a thought in the back of our head, but the moment we knew that we were gonna have our first child, it really just stirred something up inside of both of us. So at that point, we wanted to move forward and figure out how we can do this. Okay, let's dive deeper into that. What what do you think you needed? Because you say it's stability for the child, right? And a house for you guys provided that. Was that planned in that way?
I don't think so. I mean, we did want a house right away as soon as we got married, but it wasn't in the cards. We didn't have things lined up. We didn't have the finances lined up, but God really opened up doors for us, and luckily for us, we're very open about conversations. So we've talked about having a home multiple times, but when we got the opportunity to look into houses, we realized what was most important wasn't the type of flooring or the type of paint or whatever. It was that we felt comfortable in the home.
And to add to that too, it really took both of us to be in the same mindset as far as budgeting. The first step we had to understand is that we had to budget for the same thing. So the first step that we had to take was saying we're going to budget and we're going to look at our finances together. And as hard as that was for me, we decided to get a Dave Ramsey app, and we really tracked down our spending, and we sacrificed because we knew eventually, whether it was a bigger purchase or whether it was a house, we wanted to save. And so for us, I think, yes, along with her answer, was we need to be on the same mind frame and the same mindset as far as budgeting goes. And then getting into the second part of what I want to get into is hurdles, obstacles, because we would talk a lot in my field, which is behavior, about, you know, there's always physical things that get in the way. There's stumbling blocks. You know, if you speed bumps, for the analogy, if you're driving a car, there's always speed bumps somewhere to slow you down. You know, was the finances and getting your heads together, so to speak, your ideas, how was that? You spoke on that a little bit, but, you know, how is it for you, Nicole? Because I know my brother, and, you know, we don't come from a line of people that like to save, so, but for you, I mean...
Honestly, it was something that we started talking about before we were even engaged, before we were even married, because we intended to get married, and it's just been a long conversation, and it's something, honestly, that we had to talk about on a regular basis. And, you know, Sam had to come to the realization of what he really, really wanted, and once he makes the decision, then he's set on it to meet that goal.
Because a lot of people were like making fun of you guys, you know, somebody didn't know, but like they would, it's funny because people would make fun because they're like, oh, they're drinking the Starbucks from yesterday. Well, who does that? You know, who saves their coffee to drink the next day? Yeah. You know, like they would save their food, you know, from, you know, the night or two before, and they're still eating it, you know, why are they doing that? I mean, speak on that. How those are the literal behaviors you got to change, right?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, especially for me, because I mean, I just spoke before engagement. There like a period in my life where I would buy a shirt every Saturday just because I had the money to do it. And so that long conversation, it still continues. It hasn't gone away, but it's more understanding. There's more compromise in that situation. So for me, it was dreadful to bring it up sometimes, and there was a lot of sacrifice. And so, but we knew at some point in our life we wanted to have it could be a home at this point in time, it is, but we wanted to have something better. Really, at the end of the day, it was something better for both of us, whether it was a vehicle or, you know, just a major purchase. And so for us, at that time, we understood what our outcome was, so we weren't necessarily ashamed to sacrifice. And it wasn't it was just a temporary moment. It wasn't a lifelong, you know, just, I guess, change. Well, not so much change, but I'm saying like drinking and eating our leftovers and stuff like that. It was gonna be a temporary moment. It wasn't gonna be forever.
Oh yes, I understand.
But,
absolutely.
But those behaviors of you making the sacrifices is one of the things that I really want to point out, because in doing that you created a repetition. Because a lot of times we don't think that these things are big, but you know, like we like to say, you know, everything starts with a thought. After the thought, it becomes a action. Action becomes a habit. Habit, you know, becomes, you know, pretty much what we plan, a goal. And you guys doing that repetitively, maybe you knew, or maybe you didn't know that was going to get you to your goal, right? So the other question I have is, was there any other habits that you felt like, oh my gosh, we really had to do this, that was visible to other people that you had to overcome? You know, like we said, the food, the stuff was one, but I mean, did you guys have any new cars then?
No, and I think that was the big one actually, because one of the car that he drives.
What year is it?
97 white Geo Metro. It's a little egg.
How many cylinders?
It's 3 ponies.
Oh shoot!
Not even 3 horses, 3 little ponies.
It's like a sewing machine engine.
Yeah.
And it's funny because that car has been a major blessing in many different ways, but it really helped us because he works out of the area, and if he had another car that used twice as much, 3 times as much gas, which he has had to do in the past, you know, it put a really big dent in our spending. And you know, he's willing to sacrifice, and I say sacrifice because it's not necessarily the most comfortable or the warmest car or even the coolest on the hot days, you know, but it was worth it for us because we were saving so much. And it's not the most attractive car, but it doesn't matter because that's not what it's about. It's about our end goal. It's about what we're trying to achieve. And we know that eventually the dollar's going to add up. It's going to make a difference. And we know that in time, when it becomes a priority, and when we, you know, sorted other things out, that we'll get a new car when the time comes, when it's necessary. So we know everything's going to work out.
Well, that's definitely amazing. Is there anything how did you feel when you got into that car every day?
Honestly, I mean, for me, I always loved the car. It was a cool car to me, but Always having to drive it around town, and knowing that there's other people that have, you know, newer models or newer vehicles that have, you know, Bluetooth or even have the stereo. Because
Shoot.
you know, at one point I did have a stereo, but you know, because I didn't have locks on my door, you know, that stereo got taken.
Oh, damn.
You know, so being able just to listen to music would be nice. But you know, for me, I think it was definitely a humbling experience, and it really got my mindset to change, because I said, you know what, this isn't going to be a forever thing. It's going to be temporary, and that's what I had to understand. Because at the end of the day, it was like Nicole says, it was sacrifices that we were willing to make, and we know that when the priority comes, that we will, you know, get a new car. And at the end of the day, we don't even know if we'll get rid of that car, because that is the memory. That's something that we could possibly pass down. And it really was a blessing, even though it's 3-cylinder. I mean, who do you know that pays $25 for a full tank?
Nowadays, probably nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody. And coming to a close, I wanted to ask a couple more questions. What can you say, or what can you tell anybody to, you know, that is listening, that may, you know, tune into this video about you guys making this, you know, successful change in your life, this positive change. You know, if they want to start not just buying a house, but any expensive purchase, whether it be a young person wanting to buy their first car, you know, someone like us in our age that want to buy a house, or, you know, get into, you know, maybe financing a business opportunity. You know, what can you tell them, you know, from the starting ideas, you know, what has to happen?
I definitely think the first thing is obviously choosing what it is that you really want to do that is going to be worth it in the long run. Whether it's starting a business, you say, you know, I'm going to sacrifice A, B, and C for my business because I know that how much time and money it's going to require. And from there, you would basically just need to decide, okay, how much. I don't necessarily worry about how you're gonna get there, and that you just know that you start processing forward. Because as soon as you take the first step and you believe and you have faith that it's going to happen, then the things start to line up. You are diligent in what you do. Whatever it is you be diligent. Don't be careless, and continue to proceed. And honestly, it starts with faith. Setting the goal and having faith that it'll happen. And then honestly, for us, it's praying to God, and relying on someone to reaffirm that now is the time. Honestly, that's the biggest thing for us, was that now is the time. Or wait, it's going to be a wait moment. It might be 5 years from now, but that's okay, because it's going to be 5 years. But for now, I'm going to continue to step forward and set things in motion for when the time comes that I'll be ready to do whatever it is that I need to do.
Yeah. And as for us, it was a couple thing, it was a marriage thing. But I mean, for those people that are single out there too, I mean, don't get yourself into debt if you don't have to. I mean, I went to a pick and pull for my vehicle, and I don't have a debt. I mean, that's the biggest thing. If you can go to college or get a vehicle that doesn't require monthly payments, you know, these goals are achievable. They're not far off. So for me, my biggest thing was, you know, don't have debt. You know, don't be a slave to the lender. Because at the end of the day, you want to be able to have that freedom to go and, you know, save those extra dollars to do whatever it is that you want to do, whether it's to buy, you know, or start a business, whether it's to make a major purchase, or even maybe for some of you out there, it's to, you know, help out your parents. But for me, it definitely is try not to require a substantial amount of debt in your life, whether it's a vehicle or those type of things. And for those married couples, really be on the same page. I think for me is really understand the goals together and the sacrifices.
And I would say constantly communicate, because sometimes we won't be on the same page. It'll take us a while for us to understand each other. And I think that's part of the process, because as soon as we get on the same page, or at least close enough, then we're like, okay, some things are worth compromising, but we're close enough that it's gonna work out no matter what. But it doesn't always happen in a relationship on the first try, having the conversation. Sometimes it's multiple conversations, but it's always worth it.
So you mean that just because you're on the same page, you don't have no fights?
No, yeah, because sometimes, you know, one of my things that I love to buy is cologne, and they're not cheap, and so that's, you know, that was always a constant thing. You can't spend the money if we want to get X, Y, and Z. Yeah. And so those are the little fights that we had, you know, and I had to understand, you know what, they'll still be there later on, but there's an opportunity, a window that we can, work on right now.
Well, that's amazing. So for everybody out there that wants to do something, make a change. Make that first step. Do what you got to do, and inspire yourself. Inspire somebody else by doing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. I think that was cool. See you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.